The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the presenters and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Cincinnati-Hamilton County Community Action Agency or its Head Start program.
It's time for the perculator. It's time for the perculator. It's time for the percolator. It's time for the
Hey, what the business is? So now, hey, how everybody doing? This is the Parent Connection Podcast. There are a lot of other letters, names, stuff I'm not doing this time. Keep watching the UFC, but we are broadcasting live from CAA. We moved around the locations a bit because we want to keep moving around locations. Right now, we in the spot where a lot of these great workers do a lot of amazing work for Head Start.
Yes, we
You
do.
know what I'm saying?
Yes, we are.
So you know, we right with the people behind the the people behind the magic. We right where they at.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of parents tuning in. I have one parent, since we're getting ready to talk about mental health, and I guess the dictionary definition, a person's condition with regard to their.
I mean, kind of didn't even get to.
Oh, go
Kick it off yet.
kick it
Jump
off.
straight in, like, you know what I'm
I
saying?
know I got a lot of people watching.
For sure. Well, hello, a lot of
Okay.
people.
Yeah,
You know, well, for sure. Do want to ask the question, because Chanel, we missed you last week. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? How's everything?
Better.
Amen.
Much better.
That's great.
Hey, that's some strong sisterhood is right there. You know what I'm saying?
Real mothers matter.
Talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I forgot the tagline from the gate.
Okay, so everybody that's watching, thank you for tuning in to the Community Action Agency Head Start Parent Podcast.
Parent Connection Podcast.
Where
Right.
Real
mothers
matter. Real
fathers matter. Real
families matter. Awesome. Yes.
Let's get it.
So our mental health awareness is a thing, right? Because mental wellness is speaking to the well-being of your mental state as such, right?
Right.
So kind of like what we was talking about before and other stuff like that. What are some of the things that make us tick? We just want to make sure we're aware. Also, breast cancer awareness and such. We just want to make sure that these things are paid attention to because that's a big deal to my family for sure.
Right.
And also, we want to get into it straight with mental health, the actual definition of mental health, because I think a lot of times we hear that, right? And
They think the negative.
right?
First thing, any kind of speaking on that, good brother, say when they talk about mental health, the first thing they think about, oh, he crazy or she crazy, he got issues, she got issues. It could be a lot of things up under the whole mental health definition, which people actually overlook. But if you can not focus so much on the negative and actually dig deep down into the definition of mental health, then you can understand it better.
For sure. And I think that part really matters, right? You know what I'm saying? So in the aspect of mental health, the actual definition of mental health is a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being.
Mhm.
That's like health, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the whole mental health thing. You know what I mean? So I think once we have the definition down, we can kind of move forward into exploring it, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Chanel, because we are starting off with the question of the day, right? Kind of the whole basis of everything. Go ahead and break that down for us.
Okay, so everybody who's tuning in on our live and watching the playback when it's done, the question of the night is, how much time are we investing / giving to our psychological and emotional well-being?
Big question.
That's a good question. And I can answer this first because the reason why I wasn't on the last podcast is because I had to take care of my psychological and emotional well-being.
For
Why?
sure.
Because it started to affect me physically with my blood pressure. So
sure.
I needed to go sit down somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did. But my part is if we're going over the signs and signs of a nervous breakdown. I have one person who said something about it, and she said that mental health to her name is Whitley Stallworth. Mental health to her is understanding and being honest with yourself that you have issues and getting help, especially when it's interfering with your day-to-day life.
I can see where she's going, but I think that kind of
Yeah.
feeds more to what we were saying before about mental wellness, right? Because I think that's
Hmm.
the thing. We say mental health, and it's just like we put a thing on it, right? I agree with what she's saying in the sense, in the terms of mental wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what that looks like, right? But
Right.
hold on, but let's dial back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, Bruce, what I like to get an answer from you on that question. How much time are you finding yourself investing in caring about your mental and emotional well-being?
Well, no, actually, good brother. I found myself, how can I say this? Like not putting enough time in,
For sure.
and you can tell when you're not putting enough time in because you have mood swings. You may eat but not eat, as well as you may have an agenda. You may not go by the agenda. Like I said, you may have everything planned out, like how you're gonna do it. You may
Right.
miss a step, or you may miss a trip, or whatever, all because you're not putting in the adequate time. That's just like if you working 12 to 14 hours, and you may
Right.
have another job to go to after that. Honestly, you're not even getting any sleep because as soon as you leave one job, you got to go to the next one. So
Right.
in that drive from the previous job to the next job, you could be sleepy, you could be tired, you could be exhausted. I mean, sleepy, tired, and exhausted, it's all the same thing, but like it's broken down into three different parts because like those are three different types of feelings.
For
And like I
sure.
said, you can also get hurt going from one job to the other one because you're not putting that time in. So time is basically, it is needed because if you don't have it, a lot of things can trigger into that, like fatigue, headaches, you know, what they call that, insomnia,
Hmm.
your diet may be all messed up because you got to look at it like you may not have time to eat like you want to, so technically you got to snack in between, and
Okay.
snacking is not good.
No, it's not. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I mean,
You
well,
know,
it's good to help sustain, but it should not be the way we do it, right?
exactly right.
For
Because it's
sure.
like that falls in the category of you can be malnutrition too, for real, for real.
For sure. For sure. Well, I'll say for me, right? How much time do I spend investing in my psychological and emotional well-being? I don't know. I tend to believe. I like to believe I'm spending enough time. Right. That's
Hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
I like to believe. I like to believe that I'm taking enough me time, or I'm taking enough time to unwind, or
Same
enough
time.
time
I
to
would
pay
say.
attention to what I'm saying. Right.
Right.
To what I'm on. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a. I think it's a. I don't know. I think it's a bit difficult at times. Being an adult with, like you said, a full time job,
Hmm.
being an adult with kids, children, responsibilities,
All that factor into it, like
right? And then still on top of that, still got goals and ambitions. You know what I'm saying? Not just for the
right.
family, but for myself. You know what I mean? I think I spend enough time really being on it because I try to, I think you know what I'm saying, the conversations we had before, I think it's kind of been noticed about, you know what I'm saying, the bits and pieces of what's important. You know what I'm saying? I think we do a good job talking about it, and I think I've kind of expressed some of those thoughts, but I don't know. I think that part matters. It's sometimes one of those things that until you actually faced with it, the actual question, I don't think it's you taking enough time for your mental health, for your mental well being. We give enough time to. You know what I'm saying?
Don't that kind of fall into saying that, you take all this time, doing a lot of things and maybe you might be helping somebody else or whatever, but when it comes down to you as the person, like who's going to be there to help you as well as who's going to comfort the comforter, like you feel me?
Right, right,
And
right.
it's like it all falls in that category because like you can seriously make yourself have a whole bunch of health issues just because you're not putting in that adequate time to. It's like a phone.
Right.
When you in the red, what you doing? Oh, let me go get this charger real quick, charge him up, boom, and I'm back out the door. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But when you go and just keep going and going and going and not putting that adequate time in, to just sit down for a minute, like, take a deep breath and just relax. And you got to factor all that into the equation too as well, for real, for real.
Since you guys are talking about it and you guys are men, I have one question from his name is Tim Sullivan. He said, "Do you think that black men hold on. Do you think that Black men believe in going and talking to mental health professionals?
No, because well, I'm gonna say yeah and no, and the reason why I say no is because it's hard to get, a Black man to go to the doctor.
Why?
Well, because they feel like sometimes, oh, ain't nothing wrong with me, I'm good, or they feel like they got the common code, they can go to the store and get something over the counter, get a prescription, and they good. When you, like, in all actuality, you still have to dig down and find out what's actually really going on with you, because you may think you have a cold, and that can turn around and be pneumonia, and you don't even know it, and you walking around with it. So it's like you got to take extra precaution when doing a lot of stuff like that, for real.
I know, right? Hey, man, shout out to my man's, you know what I'm saying, working hard to keep the office right. We appreciate you. Sorry for ending.
Yeah, man.
All this, yeah, y'all talking about straight like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Talk that talk. Yeah, straight like that.
Yeah.
Do Black well, I'll say this. I believe what we're dealing with right now in 2018, I think we're seeing a shift in all that thinking, right? We're
Right.
getting more conversations about mental wellness, mental self-care and all that. We're getting a lot into that. So you got prominent figures who are come out, and like case in point, Jay-Z did a whole album based off of him going to therapy and taking
Yes,
off the
Jay-Z.
layers and stuff like that. 444, check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I would like to believe that it's a thing. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. Me, I am a special case. I ain't gonna say special case. I'm one of those people that it's hard for me to go to see a therapist. Because anytime anything involves spending money, I'm just overly cautious. You know what I'm saying? One, two, I work in the mental health field. You know what I mean? So for me, it become one of those things where I end up talking to them about, you know what I'm saying, like the issue and I end up talking to them about my issue as well as the perceived solution. You know what I'm saying? But I think that happens, and I think that happens in our Black man culture a lot too, because we always have to be strong, we always have to be tough, we always got to figure answers out.
We definitely got to be.
So we immediately become like, oh yeah, good, you know what I'm saying, old girl tripping, but it's all good, all I need to do is blah, you know what I'm saying, type thing. So I think it become difficult for us at times to be a bit more vulnerable for those reasons, but
Yeah.
But where you at with it though? What do you feel about it?
Yeah, let's get your input.
What, as far as Black men going to
Yeah.
professionals?
Mhm.
Or
Well, I
more
think
more.
Black people, period,
There we go.
Yeah.
do not go see mental health professionals, period. I think there's a small percentage, and I'm gonna do some more research on it. But I myself hadn't entertained the idea until after I had my son, and when I had my son, I couldn't realize, I didn't understand why I was like so weepy. Like I was
Right.
crying all the time. I love
Yeah.
my son, don't get me wrong, but I just didn't understand why I wasn't in, like, when you watch movies and stuff, you see
For
people have
sure.
babies, and
Yeah.
babies are all like, oh my God, like this is just
Yeah,
a
yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
moment. I'm
Yeah.
having, oh my God. But I felt that on the inside, but I also on the inside after I had my son, I was just like sad.
I am not laughing at you. I just saw Melanie try to creep. Like, what was she doing?
Like we can't see it.
Right.
Like, we can't see you though. Like, what we? I mean,
And she
saying-
enjoying them snacks.
She tried.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Hey, did she leave some snacks?
No, she
No.
didn't.
Oh God.
So when I had my son,
Right.
I couldn't figure out why I was crying all the time.
Yes.
And
Right.
so I was like, people around me were kind of like, oh, it's okay, you'll get over it, because there's a difference between the baby blues and postpartum.
Right.
Hey, Raven. So I was like, okay. People just kept telling me I was okay, I was gonna get over it, whatever.
For sure.
And so I got a mom who said she's going through it right now, so I'm gonna speak on that too.
Like
Her name is, I think it's Maya, and I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right, sweetie.
For sure.
Okay, so I was just crying all the time. So people telling me that I was okay and I was gonna get over it was not good enough for me. So I decided to go to a mental health professional. I went to a therapist, and I went to somebody who looks like me.
Amen.
And then they helped me to identify that it was postpartum depression. Now, y'all that are tuning in too over there on my Facebook Live, there's a difference between the baby blues, which only lasts for a little while after you had the baby. then you've got postpartum depression, which you're just kind of sad and you're crying and you know, you don't really have like a real whole reason for it, but it really is a reason, and I'll get into that. And then there's postpartum psychosis. So when you hear about parents who are chopping their babies up or they're slaying their children, they're going into the psychosis. So
Right.
when you're in postpartum depression, it's like for me, I have always been on a go, doing whatever I want when I want it. Then my life just was like,
Wow.
and I had to put him first. Not that
Yeah.
that was a problem,
Right.
but it
But
was a problem.
that's a problem. I mean, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
like it was a problem.
But
It was like everything I had to do. I couldn't think about myself first. I had to think about him. If I'm going
Right.
to the store, I have to think about, okay, I got to get his car seat. I need to make sure he's appropriately dressed. I need to make sure that his car seat is covered because he was born in the fall, going into the winter. All those kinds of things. And then you got to think twice, like, do I even feel like going to the store now? Never mind. I'm
Right.
just not going to go. So then I just kind of just started isolating myself. So postpartum depression, like you can get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And then there were
Right.
times like I would literally just be crying
Right.
for no reason.
It's like the whole
Like just
emotional
crying.
thing.
And my son's dad, he was like, "What is going on?" And I said, "I don't know. I just was break down crying for no reason." But it was a reason. It was my life
Right.
changing. My life
Right.
changed for the better. But at the,
But-
I mean, and inside, and it's also a chemical imbalance in your body as a woman.
Right. And at times, it's like you said, it's not a no reason thing. It's at times you just may not have the language to describe exactly what that is. That's why I like that you was able to
It's
kind of.
like- Ain't that
piece
kind of
that
like
together.
the non-expression where like you can't really express it? So like if it just comes out like that, that's just pretty much what happens. Like
For sure, and I think I think that's kind of the thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Postpartum depression itself.
just that word alone, period. Like
A lot of people are scared of depression. I think the black community
Yeah.
is scared of depression. They're scared of mental illness. Why? I have absolutely no idea. There's more to mental illness than schizophrenia. What's the there's a few other, but
Schizophrenia.
schizophrenia, they talk
bipolar.
about that a lot, bipolar, and then and then those things even get taken out of context, because
Yeah.
even if somebody gets diagnosed with manic depression and bipolar are the same thing, and bipolar
Right.
does not mean that you have multiple personalities. That's a whole nother mental illness. Okay,
Right.
that's a whole another piece. But because I had my postpartum depression, it forced me to learn about other things. So when you
For
talk
sure.
about schizophrenia, that's when you're feeling like there's different voices going on in your head. Then when you talk about, what was the one that I was just talking about? Yeah.
Bipolar.
Bipolar
Yeah.
is also an imbalance in your body. You have highs and lows. It does not mean that you have multiple personality disorder. Multiple personality disorder is when you're using different, we'll say different masks, different people to, when you are feeling threatened. So you
Right.
start,
And one is not aware of the other.
yes, and the other one is not aware of the other because they're all trying to protect each other,
that
and they're all
imbalance.
trying to protect you down in here. So when you all are talking, if you all that are watching hear about bipolar, does not mean
And the people
somebody
watching the
is
podcast.
crazy. And
Yeah,
the people
most
that are watching
definitely.
the podcast does not mean somebody is crazy. It does not mean that they have multiple personality disorder. So that's the thing we need to do. First of all, we need to get educated on what these mental illnesses are.
But
Then
you
stop
speak-
being afraid
and then
of
you know
them.
what? When you just said it right there, like we need to get educated. That's a strong, valid point because it's like so many people are so judgmental when they hear these certain words. It's like they automatically think the negative, but they don't actually take the time out to see like what causes this or what can I do when this happens, or if it does happen and if it continue, can I get some further help to help me? Like when you said you went and got help for it, it's a lot of people that wouldn't even have took that initiative or that step to go and get some help. They rather resort to other options like recreational activities and stuff like that because they feel like it's a balance. It will calm them down, but you got to think at the beginning, at the end of the day, it's still a problem that still needs to be solved.
And I think
That's exactly how I feel about mental illness. I'm telling you, get educated on what people are talking about. Stop
Get educated.
Just stop. Stop thinking that you know what it is, and stop judging people because you think they are crazy. They are not crazy. And a lot of the times, people don't want to talk about the trauma in a black household. How having what is it called, a broken home, and seeing domestic violence.
For sure.
And man, it's just so many things that go into
It's a
your
lot.
mental health, and we as Black people and parents and families do not want to talk about it.
It's
And
a simple,
okay.
It's a simple cry.
I know
for
I'm going
help.
into something else,
being
but
No, it's cool. It's cool. I just want to make sure we
That's right.
we
touch
got
on the
we got
basics.
levels of the conversation. Just want to hit them all.
I know.
Because
I feel strongly about this.
no, and I trust me. I mean, and you know, and I think it's fair, right? And I think it's fair because I think it's been an underlying issue in every episode that we've tried to address. That we had one really major episode that due to technical difficulties y'all never saw, but we really dived into it. So that's why I kind of want to keep I kind of want to keep this conversation going in that regard, right?
It's time for the perculator. It's time for the perculator.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the presenters and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Cincinnati-Hamilton County Community Action Agency or its Head Start program.